The Year of Global Citizenship is a student-led, grassroots movement that emphasizes one's role as a citizen of the world. It is the theme for Furman's 2010-2011 annual Year of series. Initiated by a core group of students with the purpose of promoting global awareness on campus, the Year of Global Citizenship was met by both challenge and enthusiasm, with the definition intentionally left open for interpretation by the student body. Global citizenship is a concept which spans multiple academic disciplines, topics, and issues.
It is an attempt to foster and create a dialogue and discussion around the issue of global citizenship. So we were very careful in not defining that and letting that kind of play out through multiple different disciplines and different events, and let it kind of organically be created.
So for me personally, the most basic thing about being a global citizen is having empathy and caring for people, not because of, say, their nationality or their ethnicity, or because they live near me or live within my community, but because simply that they're another human being. And realizing, and like I said earlier, that my role in the world may seem small to me and may seem like I'm only affecting those around me in my community, but realizing that every action I have has impacts not only locally but globally.
Us as a kind of more holistic, kind of globalized world, as opposed to just being Americans or being even South Carolinians or Greenvillians at whatever scale you want. The whole premise behind it is to get Furman students thinking about, look, we live in a globalized world and you can approach that from any angle you want.
There is some confusion that it just means to erase your national ties and have just be a citizen of the world and not to anywhere else, and kind of dismiss whatever specific loyalties you might hold. And I don't think it's really that at all. It's kind of just coming to terms with the reality of cultural pluralism and diversity.
Over the course of the year, the YGC Student Planning Committee was responsible for arranging forums, attracting guest speakers, and screening films that focus on global issues. These events have helped to facilitate campus dialogue and connect the diverse perspectives on global citizenship.
For instance, like the first CLP of the year, we showed the film Crude, which is about environmental disasters in Ecuador revolving around the oil industry.
I participated in the Faith and Globalization Symposium, and we helped bring about a variety of kind of interfaith dialogue, arranging panels between different leaders of various faith traditions, asking them questions about how their faith bodies kind of respond to the challenges of globalization, and kind of encouraging an ecumenical dialogue.
There was a film they showed, Blue Gold, which was a film that was shown as part of their film series. Water is one of these topics in terms of should it be treated as a human right or as an economic good? And there's obviously two sides to the story.
Students often speak of the Furman bubble, a disconnect between Furman and the world at large. YGC is an attempt to burst this metaphorical bubble, exposing students to the community, society, and the world.
Furman is cut off. This is Greenville, South Carolina. It's pretty. It's not New York. It's not Atlanta. It's somewhere else. And students themselves call it the Furman bubble. So I think the whole point of this student initiative, that we need to be better, better aware of our relationship to the rest of the globe.
The goal is to get students to talk about what's outside of the bubble, and realizing that you are connected so much to the outside world that I feel like a lot of Furman kids and a lot of students on campus don't realize how connected they are to not only Furman but to the Greenville community. And beyond.
It'd be one thing for us to kind of wrap ourselves up in the Furman bubble. I think many of us financially could afford to do so. But I think we're just missing kind of that inherent part of us that is wanting to reach out and kind of say, look, we're part of a global community, right? We are part of the problem, but we can be part of the solution. In many ways, we're probably best posed to be a large part of the solution.
The year of global citizenship is nearly over. However, the dialogue is not. The YGC committee hopes that global citizenship will continue to engage and challenge students in the years to come.
There can be two possible reactions to an awareness of what's happening in the globe. One can be and this is always the case with any kind of encounter with something that's different, that's other. One can be an attitude of revulsion or turning away and saying, oh, that's over there, I don't want to have anything to do with this, it scares me, or I don't know how to deal with that kind of issue. The other kind of reaction can be, I want to know more about, how do they live, or what do they, what resources do they have to cope with their particular conditions, and what is it that we are doing as a society to impact them.
So I think, we could isolate ourselves as Americans and kind of only look out for ourselves, but I think there's a point now at which we can't do that. If we want to move on as a society, as a civilization, we have to come at it from a global perspective. And it's going to take all of us working together, I think, to really tackle some of these big issues, whether it's climate change or food to feed the world or enough water to go around. We can't be that selfish, kind of more consumptive aggressor that we've been kind of historically. We really need to kind of reach out and be part of the solution as to necessarily part of the problem. We hope this to be more of a kickoff as opposed to a finality, in terms of it wasn't just a year of that kind of we started and then ended and then we moved on to some other year of. The idea really behind the YGC was, could we use this year as a way to kind of begin the dialogue, get people thinking about the bigger picture, but the hope is to have this continue indefinitely.
I find it really worrying that very few students know what's going on in the world. Very few students have the time to keep up with world events. And I think somehow it's not just a matter of CLPs, but just taking half an hour to read at least the headlines.
It's not just like the social justice kids or the political science kids, but it's like the business and the communication studies and HES and all that. So it's kind of like this really cool dialogue to really create like an interdisciplinary conversation.
So I would urge any Furman student to embrace, I think, YGC and what it has to offer, because I think it really is could have a pretty marked impact, I think, on your life if you're willing to kind of take that in and think a little bit broader and more holistically.